Hey musicians, if you've been struggling with exactly what to do to make your chords sound fatter, fuller, and you want to know exactly what do I need to do, what notes do I need to add, go ahead and stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and switch the camera and I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do. Okay, so this first method can be implemented very quickly. So what you want to do is you want to take a major chord, any major chord. We're going to just do C major. Okay, and then what you do is you want to take that middle note. Now this has to be in root position, so make sure that the chord is in root position, just a regular old triad, and take the middle note, and I want you to drop that middle note in octave. Well, don't drop it, double it up. So the middle note is an E. We're going to play that at the bottom with the left hand. Then I want you to take the second note, or the third note, the one in the middle, and I want you to make it the second note. Okay, so you're going to change playing a 1-3-5 to a 1-2-5. Okay, remember the second note of the scale. So it creates this sound, and what it does is it opens up the sound, it modernizes the sound. Let's try another one. E flat, take that middle note, G, drop it an octave. Now change this G, now play the second note instead of the third, which is an F. Okay, now this is the quickest way, and it can be done very quickly, to modernize your major voicings. And you want to practice it in every key so that you can kind of, right? And you just keep on going up. And it's a very quick way to do it. And in fact, I believe that in a video we have on my channel, I have decided Eddie Brown plays that one, Marette Brown Clark, and she has this intro. He has an intro. Right, all of those are major voicings, but what they're using that same principle. Look at this voicing right here. This is just a C major chord. If I had played that same intro using major triads, it would sound like this. Right? So what we're doing is we're opening up these sounds, and essentially we're creating a drop two with an added second. And so this is one of the quickest ways to modernize your hymns. And again, anytime you hear it major, you just replace it with that voicing. Okay? So Amazing Grace. Becomes, right? Let's keep that first one. Now on the B flat. See, there it is. Now this one doesn't use that same concept because I'm using a seventh here. Okay, so that's the quickest way to modernize. Okay, now let's go to the second method. Okay, so the next part of how to extend your major chord voicings is to add extensions, and this part is so cool because everybody's always asking, how do I know which notes to add? I want to make my chords sound fatter, but I don't know which notes to add. Okay, so here's the first thing. When you encounter a major chord, the first thing you need to know is, where's the root? What is the root of the major chord? Now that's very important because, like in the last example, when I gave an example of this chord here, the root of this is not the bottom note. It's not a G. It is an E flat. It's an E flat major. So you got to know the root because the root is the 1. Okay. So let's take the root as the C here. The root is the first note, and what we're going to do is we are going to add odd number scale degrees, which means we're going to skip every other note. So we have C, D, E. That's the next note in the chord. G is the next note in the chord. And then after this, we're going to be dealing with extensions now. The next note in the chord is a B. That's the 7. Okay, so we can add the 7th if we want to make our chord sound a little bit more full. And then we can go to the D. These are all extensions that you can add on top of this. After the D, you skip 1 and you go to the F. You can add that F if you wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it, but I'm going to explain that later. And then you can skip another one. You can go to the A. See, this is 13 notes away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And that's usually where we stop. So we have 1 to 13. All of these notes you can add, but they're usually odd numbers. Now, here's how to know which notes you can add. First thing I want to say is the further you get away from the C, okay, the more you create tension in that chord. But the more that you also have to be very careful about what notes you're adding. for one, I wouldn't add the 11. Okay, so for now, and I don't want to get into the reasons why for now. So let's just say that the 11 is out. Now you can add what's called a sharp 11. That means you take that 11 and you raise it a half step. So you can do that, which creates a C major 9 sharp 11, right? Because it's 11 notes away. But I wouldn't add that for now. I wouldn't add the natural 11, but you can add the 13. Now let's discuss where you're going to use this and how does this work. Let's look at grateful, because grateful uses some major chords and they're easy. So there's only 2 chords I want to focus on, right? So when you start grateful, you normally go, right? So you have your A flat chord. So let's work with that let's work with that chord, and then after that you go, and then you have a D flat chord. So let's just look at both of those chords to see how you would extend both of those chords. Okay, with the A flat chord. So here's your chord here. Now if you look at the first note that you can extend, the next one is a G. Now you can create this chart yourself by just writing it out, or of course you can go to my website and download. I think I have the major chart for everybody. If you're a member of my site, you're gonna have all types of chords, but right now we're focusing on major, and you can see the next note is going to be a G. Let's see if that works. I don't like how that sounds, because the thing is, it doesn't always have to be in root position. So you can take this G, even though it's on top, it doesn't need to be in the same position in the chord. You can have this G on the bottom next to the A flat. Sound like this. Sounds good. And this is the first way that you have literally extended your A flat major chord. You've changed it to a 7th chord, and it's a note. It's not just a random note. It's a note that's allowed. Okay, now let's look at the next note. The next note after the G is a B flat. Okay, so we don't just pull notes out of thin air. Okay, we actually use a process to figure out what notes we can add. Let's see if we can add this B flat. Well, you know what's wrong with this? I've added all the notes. It's an A flat major 9, but I don't like the way it sounds. Well, maybe that's because there's just too many. It could be a little bit too cluttered. See, since we have an A flat at the bottom, you don't need an A flat also on top, since you have other notes in there competing for the tone. So we're going to take out that A flat, and now we're just going to use this chord just like this. Let's try it now. Sounds great. Okay, so as you see, the more notes I'm adding, the more I have to make conscious decisions on what notes are going to remain, right? Is they're kind of all fighting for their own lane here. Now that next note is a D flat. Oh, but we said not to use that. How about the sharps? But see, if I use that sharp 11, which is the D, See, there's not a lot of ways I can put that in, and that's because the further I get away, remember, the further you get away from the root, the more you have to be careful. It doesn't mean that just because you have a note that's available to you as an extension, that doesn't mean that you just have to use that, okay? Because then you're playing, it won't sound good either if you just use every available note. So we have to be conscious about the notes that we want to add. I feel like this chord is best stopping at the 9. Okay, let's go to the next one. Then we have the walking up to that D flat. Okay, so the next available note would be a C. Let's see if that works. That sounds great. How about the next available one? Well, remember, we're using our root of a D flat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, it should have been 7, and then we go to the 9. Let's try adding that E flat into the chord. Okay, so that sounds like it works as a D flat major 9. You want to keep on going. We know to skip that G flat, okay, for the because we know not to use that. Let's go to a B flat here. Let's add the 13. See if that works. Okay, well that sounds good to me. Okay, so maybe this is going to work. Now the reason why the reason why it's calling it a 6/9 is because I left off the C. See? So it would be like this. But I left off the C in order to provide more space. So yeah, it changes the quality, but still I have most of my notes there. Now, what about this sharp 11? Can we use this? This is where it kind of gets a little bit crazy. The sharp 11 is a G. Let's see if we can use that. See? Or you can even keep that 9 in there. See, so that G creates such a different tone that it's almost, it doesn't sound quite right to play it without kind of resolving it a little bit. Or you can just do, or you can do that too. Now, someone's gonna say, how is that allowed? Because look within, and this brings me to another point of this whole thing about extensions. If you look in the notes, you'll see all kind of chords in here. Look at this. Look, you've got an E flat triad in here. Within the middle of a D flat chord, you have an E flat, G, and a B flat. Isn't that crazy? So this means that this chord is an allowable chord to use with a D flat chord. You can also use this. You can play them together and give yourself a nice little way to extend your chord there, right? So that's the principle I used, because when I was going, I just thought of an E flat chord. See, so there's my E flat chord there, but I still have that D flat over the bottom, and it's still just an extension. So I'm not even doing any chord. I'm not really doing any substitutions or anything like that. I'm just extending this chord. So this just kind of shows you that second way of how to extend your chords using extensions. Let's go to the third thing. The third thing is just basically specific types of chords that I think it would be helpful for you to know. The first one is a 6/9 chord. Now the 6/9 chord, basically, the way I like to do that is press the 1, press the 3, gonna press the 6, which is if we're going with the C as the root, it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the 9, which is the same as the 2, right? This is the 2, but an octave higher. So you want to memorize this kind of a voicing, okay? This is called a 6/9. You can use it. So you kind of want to memorize it in every key. So here's E flat here. E flat, G, C, F. Okay? And maybe later on I'll just try to play a song and I'll try to see if I can implement this somehow, right? See, these are 6/9 voicings. And these can replace major voicings, but they're specifically jazz voicings, so you got to be kind of careful. Happy birthday to you. Instead of playing a regular old C chord, and then you can play your jazz voicing. Now someone's gonna say, wait a minute, you didn't play it right. You should have played that. Well, I always have to be aware of my melody, see? So in this specific example, I wouldn't recommend putting the 9 on the top, because now you have the 9 which is on top of the melody, which kind of confuses the ear. So I would in this case, I would probably put that 9 on the bottom. It still makes it a 6/9 chord. Okay, so that's just an easy way to kind of jazz up or modernize your major chords by changing them to 6/9 chords. The other thing you can do is change it to what's called a 13 sharp 11. Now what a 13 sharp 11 chord does is it uses all of the notes, right? The 13, and remember that F changes to an F sharp, right? And then even the D has to be in there. and someone's gonna say, well, what note are you missing? Well, I'm missing the A. So I'm gonna spread this out a little bit so I can kind of reach my A. So it looks like this is called a 13 sharp 11, and as you can see, it uses all the available notes except the sharp 5, which it's kind of rare that you would use that one. But this is a voicing that that you can use again in place of a major voicing, but it's the most, I think it's the most out there chord you can have. That's the way Eddie Brown uses it. See that? So this is a flavor of that voicing, okay? And again, you can see all the notes here are being used within the chord. So it's a 13 sharp 11. Some of the other things that you can do, I think I've already referenced this before, is that you can play a major 7 voicing, and you can double up on the 7th note and put it next to it. It kind of creates that kind of a sound, which really kind of sounds. See, here's a major 7, but take that G, double it up in the bottom, and gives you a lot of tension. It sounds really nice, and that's a good way to practice. So those are chords. These are all still major 7 chords, but just one way to kind of modernize them, make them sound just a little bit more tension. We can make it have a little bit more tension by adding the 7th note to the bottom. Okay, so let's go ahead and run through. We'll try to do a song. Let's do a hymn, and we'll try to do something where we can use a lot of these things that we've learned, and we'll just throw them in for now and just kind of see what works. It's because I don't have to do it everywhere. I'm going to use a sus there. Now here we go. Here's our 7th chord. Here's the chord I told you about where we dropped the G a whole step, right? Here's my A major 7. I have to have that 13 because it's part of the melody, but I have an actual A flat major, right? 7. I added the F, and then I also added the C because that's part of the melody. Let's use some progressions that are major to get to the Jesus, Jesus, how I love them. All major progressions here. Okay, and then we go to the sus, and we just, now, Jesus, Jesus, how I trust him. Let's try to do some more. Here's my 6-9. I'm going to do my 6-9 here. Right? I'm going to do an F major voicing. Sweet, I'm thinking of my F voicing here. I'll use there's that voicing again. So as you can see, all of these are just kind of extending these majors. Those are the sus voicings here. And then we can end it. Let me change the majors. And then back to some sus. And then let's end with that's 13 sharp 11. See, it's just kind of showing you a way that we can use these just kind of at random. But you want to start with your major chord. So I'm hoping that you guys have found this lesson helpful for you. Let me know if this lesson has been helpful for you. I know a lot of you probably already know how to extend major chords already, but a nice refresher is always good. So thanks again for watching. Don't forget, I've got a link. I think I even wrote a blog post about this So go ahead and check that out. And if you would like to take your skills further, check out the membership site. That's something that we're going to have some stuff in there for you. We've got charts in there for all of the different types of chord voicing, so you can kind of use that to not only extend your major chords, but your minor, your dominant. We're going to be doing the training on that soon. So go ahead and come on and join us. We'd love to see you. Love to have you on board. Thanks again for watching, folks. We'll see y'all later.